What's up, Misfit Nation? Welcome to another episode of the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Matt the Misfit. Tonight, we're going to go over Monday Night Raw for November 7th, 2022, the Fallout show from Crown Jewel. We're going to go over quickly a Crown Jewel and my thoughts about it since I didn't review the show, like I said I wasn't going to. I also want to go over this week's Monday Night Raw, which is a weird episode. It wasn't a bad episode or anything, but it was very weird booking decisions. The Money in the Bank briefcase was somewhat buried. Austin Theory is buried underneath the ground. The 24/7 championship is gone, thank God. And we got the first match announced for Survivor Series WarGames. The first actual WarGames match announced for the main roster is made official tonight. We also had the return of Mia Yim, which was reported weeks ago from Fightful Select. They reported that she was coming back. She is back. We also had a tease of a potential, hopefully, WrestleMania match between Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. We also seen an incredible back and forth argument, sort of tirade between Io Shirai and Asuka in Japanese, which is fantastic. Teases of Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss continue even on Monday Night Raw throughout. Well, not throughout the show, but it happened on Saturday and it happened tonight on Raw. If you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button, like button as well. Comment down below. Follow the social media at Misfit Wrestle TV and at Instagram with at Misfit Wrestling Pod, on Facebook, Misfit Wrestling Podcast. You can find this YouTube link, since we now have a username or a handle now. They have introduced handles to pretty much every channel now. So you can use the handle youtube.com/at Misfit Wrestling Podcast. You can find us very easily. You can either do it that way, or you can go in the search engine and type in at Misfit Wrestling Podcast. There is no spaces between these handles, which is kind of like how Twitter is. Twitter is being very weird here, but I'm not going to go into that here. But yeah, we're going to go. Let me go quickly over Crown Jewel, what I think about it. Crown Jewel, like I said, I didn't review the show. I kept my word. But as a show, I enjoyed it. It was very enjoyable. There were some things I didn't like about the show. For instance, I didn't like Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. I never liked the idea of Lashley versus Lesnar because I knew it was going to be bad and it was going to be boring, and it was. At the Royal Rumble, it was bad and boring. Here at Crown Jewel, it was bad and boring. I have no desire to see this feud continue or this match happening at WrestleMania. Another match I didn't give a shit about for obvious reasons, because I don't care about either one of these people. Braun Strowman and Omos was one of the worst things on fucking television that night or that day, whenever, depending on where you lived and what time you watched this. That match, at least, or that show. Some things I did like on that show: the women's tag team title match was actually very, very good. Better than the match that I seen happen on Monday Night Raw. This was probably Alexa Bliss's best match since WrestleMania 36, if I'm being 100% honest with you. This is also, in my opinion, the best women's tag team title match since WrestleMania 36, when with Alexa and Nikki Cross won the titles from, funny enough, Asuka and Kairi Sane. So there's that. There was teases, like I said earlier on, there was teases between Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss. So during that, during the Crown Jewel show, when Alexa Bliss and Asuka was getting interviewed before their match, Alexa Bliss was interrupted by a Bray Wyatt logo on the TV screen. Got distracted a little bit. And so did Asuka. A little bit. She was in a trance here. I think that may play into something a little bit later. Maybe we see a darker version of Asuka. Maybe Kana comes into there. Who knows about that? I'll talk more about Alexa Bliss too, because the same thing happened. She didn't get. Well, this distraction didn't happen, but while she was making her way to the ring with Bianca and Asuka, Bray Wyatt's logo just flashed up onto the Titantron real quick. But we'll talk about that as well. Karrion Kross and not Roman Reigns, Karrion Kross and Drew McIntyre was an okay steel cage match. And the more I thought about it, Kross probably should have lost. Maybe, I don't know. But that feud's still going. What else happened? Oh, the OC and Judgment Day. OC and the Judgment Day. I loved the references, the straight name dropping of the Bullet Club, acknowledging that Carl Anderson is the never open weight champion. They referred Anderson and Gallows as Doc Gallows and Machine Gun Carl Anderson. They said that Finn Balor created the Bullet Club, and this is true. And it's probably, I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So that happened. That was some good stuff. We did have an equalizer to the for the OC to join to beat up Judgment Day in the form of Mia Yim. We'll talk about Mia Yim a little bit later. Also, Logan Paul. You know, I don't like the guy as a human being or as a person. As a professional wrestler, he's earned my respect. And if he wants to do this full time as a professional wrestler, I'm all for it. Man surprised the hell out of me in his match with Roman Reigns on Saturday. And I think he killed it. I think he absolutely killed it. He unfortunately killed his knee. He tore his MCL, ACL, and meniscus. That's going to put him out for an entire year. Depending on how bad it is. I don't want to compare it to Seth Rollins, but it's similar to what happened with him. Of course, Rollins missed WrestleMania. In the same, funny thing is, it was in the same month too. And he was out till July of 2016, and he came back at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view with, funny enough, Roman Reigns. But I said this on Twitter about Logan Paul. He's got the basic part of that now of this business now, which is wrestling. He's got that down to a T. All you need to do now is work on the rest of it, which is his character and a personality. If you want to talk to people, you got people at your disposal. You have Triple H, you have Paul Heyman, you have Bray Wyatt, you have Kevin Owens, you have those individuals, and there's a few other names that come into my mind that absolutely you can talk to about character and personality and cutting promos rather. But yeah, if Logan Paul wants to do this full time, he can do that. I'm okay with that. But that's what I thought about Crown Jewel. Bray Wyatt also was on the show. Cut a Bray Wyatt promo. He's talking about rewriting his story. Funny enough, Bray Wyatt has been added back to the WWE roster page, the active roster page. He's listed on the SmackDown brand officially. They did finally update his bio, removed all mention of everything that happened from 2019 to the day he was released. So there's no mention of the Alexa Bliss stuff. There's no mention of the Goldberg stuff that happened with Goldberg. There's no mention of the Braun Strowman feud. There's no mention of him beating up Finn Balor at SummerSlam. There's no mention of the Fiend showing up. None of that. So I think what Bray Wyatt means by rewriting his own story, because ever since he's been back, they haven't really mentioned anything about his time as Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt to current Bray Wyatt to the day he was released. And I think that's on design and by design. I think they're trying to rewrite his entire story that was botched. The whole Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt Fiend storyline, I think is going to get rewritten, and I think Alexa Bliss is going to get also rewritten. This whole storyline with her is going to be rewritten. That's what I think is going to happen. But let's talk about Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw was a weird ass fucking show. And even if I did also record and a review for uh the Crown Jewel, I would have been dead ass tired on Saturday anyways, because right after the show, I had to we get ready to go to the fair with my family, because it was one of the last few nights that we could go, and I like going, hang out with my family and all that stuff, and we were in the traffic for like 2.5 hours, maybe first hour, or 40 minutes, whatever it was. We waited to get help pick up my cousin from work, and then we had to sit in line for another 40 minutes in the same traffic, to get to the parking lot. The fair traffic is bullshit, is basically what I'm trying to say here. But enough about that. And when I came home, I was dead ass tired anyways. So enough about that. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw was a weird ass show, but I didn't hate the show. The show was fine. This was one of Triple H's weirder shows, the book. It wasn't like the worst Raw, because I didn't see last week's Raw. But there was a Raw, I think, a week before, or the week before that. I thought it was one of the worst Raws. I thought it was one of the worst Raws Triple H ever put on. And I mean, sure, you had, and the crowd didn't help anyway. They were in, where were they at? They were in fucking Pennsylvania. They had a Wilkes-Barre. They were in a shitty town in Pennsylvania, and they'll be in Philadelphia, by the way, for Raw is Triple X. Yes, that's what the logo says. The 30th anniversary of Monday Night Raw. Please do not go in your search engine and type in Raw is XXX, because you do not want to look that up at all. Kids, I mean it. If any kids are listening to this. But Raw was a weird ass show. We had an open challenge, which ended up, I guess, being it was accepted by Mustafa Ali. Then it was not. Then it ends up being accepted by Bobby Lashley. Then not, because Bobby Lashley just comes out there and beats the piss out of Seth Rollins. Then Austin Theory comes out and cashes in his Money in the Bank briefcase on Seth Rollins. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, Triple H does not like this motherfucker. Like, at all. Like, he doesn't see this guy as a fucking main eventer. At all. You know what? I see what exactly Triple H sees. A fucking loser. Like, this was the burial of not Seth Rollins. This was the burial of Austin Theory. But we'll get to that a little bit when I get to that. He also had the burial of the 24/7 championship. Thank the Lord, Triple H decided to put the title in the trash. Everyone wanted this title in the trash, and they put it in, well, sort of, it went in the trash. Nikki Cross won the 24/7 title. Nikki Cross won the 24/7 title from Dana Brooke, and then immediately put it in the trash 5 minutes later. I'll talk about how great that was. And she is a part of WarGames. So we had WarGames announcement. So I didn't get to talk about this during, like I said, because I didn't review the show. During the Crown Jewel show, they had a vignette or an ad for Survivor Series, and they did confirm both WarGames matches are going to be 5-on-5. We have 4 of the 5 members of the Heels, which is going to be Bayley, Dakota Kai, IYO SKY, and Nikki Cross, with the 5th member to be announced next week or so, against Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and 2 unnamed wrestlers. My prediction, because we saw this happen earlier, It's going to be for the heels. It's going to be, you're going to have, obviously going to have the Damage Control, which is Bailey, Dakota, and Io with Nikki Cross, who I don't think is a part of Damage Control. Like, Nikki Cross never always said that, yeah, I'm joining the group. She just is there. It reminded me of... Okay, it reminded me of... All right, so do you remember, you guys, when Randy Orton joined, did the whole thing with the Wyatt family? That's what I saw that as. And, you know, Orton never outwardly said he was a member of the Wyatt family. Just people assumed it because he was with Bray and Harper. So that's what I think is going to happen there. And joining them, I think it's going to be Rhea Ripley. And then on the faces side, you got Bianca, Asuka, and Alexa, who I think is going to join that. I think it's going to be Candice LeRae, and then who we saw earlier on joining the OC, Mia Yim. So I think that's going to be how it's going to be done there. But Raw started with the Usos and Solo Sikoa, no Sami Zayn, which is odd because they aren't in Saudi Arabia anymore, so they could have Sami Zayn show up. Didn't make a lot of sense. They come out. Jay says the bloodline is now in wherever in Bumfuck Town, wherever they're at. No one cared. There's literally no one cared about anything on this show outside of maybe one thing, maybe one or two things. But I'll talk about my favorite thing on the entire show in a little bit. And Jimmy starts bragging about the Bloodline's win at Crown Jewel before Jay addresses the New Day because Jimmy and Jay retained the titles in a fun tag team match with the Brawling Brutes. And they'll be facing the New Day for the 700th, 2,750th time. No more after this, by the way. I do not want to see, when it comes to the men's WarGames match, I do not want to see the New Day anywhere near that. As much as I love the New Day, I do not want to see the Usos and the New Day mix it up. They're the only team that should be against the Bloodline is the Brawling Brutes, which is Sheamus, Pete Dunne, and Ridge Holland, Drew McIntyre, or it's either going to be Drew McIntyre in that spot or Matt Riddle, and Kevin Owens. That's it. But they talk about the New Day. It says after Friday they're going to become the longest reigning tag team champions in WWE history. That they say that the New Day are two of the twos and they are the ones because that's their catchphrase. New Day comes out. Kofi Kingston says they're getting ahead of themselves before Woods asks how they're doing. He says that in 4 days on SmackDown, the WWE Universe will see them defending their record against the Usos. He says record-breaking reign will stay intact. Jimmy says that they've already gave them their props and recognized their accomplishments. So this goes back to when we thought was the feud ender after Hell in a Cell, where they this is where the Usos turned babyface around that time, and they both acknowledged their accomplishments and stuff, and they went their separate ways. Jimmy says that he's proud of them and says it must feel good to be the second best tag team in WWE. Wood says they fail to remember that they hold the record, and therefore the Usos are chasing them. They keep going back and forth. Matt Riddle then decides to come out. He heads to the ring with his bongos in his hand. Don't know why this is still thing. Just a few weeks ago, they were teasing something with him and Elias and just dropped it. He says he didn't mean to interrupt, but you did. And asked Woods if to join his band with Elias. Jimmy says to basically shut the fuck up, and Riddle says that he should sit back and relax with his bong. And it's a line I never thought I would say. He offers the bongos to the New Day to hit, and they do. He does the same to the Usos. Jimmy obliges because Jimmy is great. Jimmy is fantastic. While Jay declines and slaps his bongos. It sounds fucking weird to say out loud. Riddle says no man slaps his. I can't say this with a straight face. Riddle says no man slaps his bongos and says that there's 2 teams of 3 then, and we should do a 6-man tag. So it starts off with the New Day and Matt Riddle versus the Bloodline. The Bloodline wins. Fun little match. Not like the crowd sort of got into it near the end of it. But it wasn't like the crowd was, like I said, dead through the entire show. They didn't even like making a noise for Mia Yim when she popped up. There's certain cities you just should never go back to. To my knowledge, ever since they debuted, Ciampa, Gargano, Aleister Black, and Andrade, and where the hell were they? Lafayette, Louisiana. As far as I know, they have not went back to Lafayette, Louisiana in years. And of course they had to make up for that fucking debacle the next night on SmackDown in New Orleans, where I know where they actually got reactions because they did the takeover show that year. So, or it was a year before. It was the year before that, anyway. But the Bloodline win after Riddle tries to deliver an RKO, or doesn't deliver an RKO with Jimmy, but Solo comes in hits the spinning Solo. After the match, they start celebrating up the ramp. And we still don't know what's going on with WarGames. I'm assuming since the women's WarGames match is mostly Raw talent, outside of if Matt Riddle and Kevin Owens show up on that other side of the faces. You could just do a SmackDown WarGames match. But my question for that is, if you would have Drew McIntyre, but who would be the 5th guy? Nakamura, maybe? I mean, sure. Nakamura's owed some type of, revenge over the Bloodline after what happened with Rick Boogs. I mean, you could do that. But who knows what Triple H has in mind for the men's WarGames. But I do have an idea for the women's. It's kind of set in stone at this point. We had a video package recapping Crown Jewel. Then we go back to break. We come back from the break that they had. JBL comes in the ring. Fuels off some dumb bullshit. Baron Corbin beats Cedric Alexander. Poor Cedric Alexander. I forgot he was even employed. He hits the foot. Cedric Alexander hit the forearm, followed by a neutralizer and Tope Suicida. Cedric gets back in the ring. Corbin hits the end of days for the win. I made a joke on Twitter that when JBL came out, he looked like the dude who plays Vince McMahon on Young Rock. I thought now that I thought of now that I've said that, I just can't unsee it now. And then we got a Seth Rollins promo. Seth Rollins is over. He's over everywhere. I think they're turning Seth Rollins babyface based on how the show went down. Seth Rollins says, "Welcome to the fans to Monday Night Rollins." He says that he has some business to attend to. Says that the United States Champion Open Challenge is back in business, which is one of my favorite things about John Cena's run as the United States Champion. Judgment Day music hits. I'm like, what's going on here? So Judgment Day comes out. Finn Balor enters the ring and says he has a bone to pick with Rollins, and says that Rollins cost him gold a couple of years back, referring to SummerSlam where the buckle bomb that Seth Rollins used on Finn Balor, tore his shoulder up, separated his shoulder. I had to vacated the Universal title the next night, and I'm assuming that's what he was referring to here. So that's what I think it was. He says, Balor says that he cost them gold. Balor says he's going to cost Rollins gold tonight. Looks to answer the challenge, but then the OC's music hits. They come out. OC and Judgment, they face off in the ring. Rollins is standing in between them, and he just sneaks off. Just, you know, slithers out of there. Styles says that their issues are far from over. Balor says that the OC is old news. Technically, he's correct about that. But Styles cuts him off and says, it's always been 3-on-4. He says that Crown Jewel was no different. They're looking for someone to take care of Rhea Ripley. He says that that someone found the OC, so they couldn't find the person that they wanted. Someone found them, is what he's talking about here. Next thing you know, a hooded figure attacks Rhea Ripley, pushes her into the ring post. It reveals that it's Mia Yim. Good to see Mia Yim back. Hopefully, she's finally getting a better spotlight on the main roster, because she got fucked over massively. She got put with the fucking retribution gimmick. Then they had her fake a seizure on television. Then they had her split. No, they didn't have her split. They repackaged her as Mia Yim, which completely forget after they disbanded Retribution. Then they drafted her to, I believe she drafted. I think she was drafted to SmackDown, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Then she was never seen on television again, and then 2-3 weeks later, she was released. I was like, what? So, very happy to see Mia Yim back. The 6 men in the ring start brawling while Mia Yim starts hitting Rhea Ripley with a kendo stick. Gallows sends Priest over the announce desk while Balor and Styles go at it in the ring. Balor retreats as Dominic tries to take down Styles. Styles delivers a Styles Clash as the OC stands. Styles delivers a Styles Clash, and Dominic OC stands tall in the ring. We go to the back. Kathy Kelly is with Seth Rollins. Kathy asks, Kathy asks what the events that just took place mean for the open challenge. Rollins says that since he made a promise, the world will have to wait to see who answers the call. So that's again teasing somewhat of a babyface run for Seth Rollins. Next up, we get Elias losing quickly to Otis. Poor Elias comes back to lose to Otis. Again, Matt Riddle just abandons Elias. Maybe, I don't know. It's, maybe it's because Ezekiel went hanging out with El Generico, and then there's these fucking schmucks on the internet trying to insinuate that El Generico and Sami Zayn are the same person, when Sami Zayn can't even go to Saudi Arabia. But I've been told that El Generico can go to Saudi Arabia. And El Generico right now is in Mexico, rescuing the orphanage from the fire that I'm assuming, I think he set. I don't know. So, there's nothing to write home about Otis and Elias. It was just on the show. We go to backstage. Byron Saxon's with the judge of the day, Balor. Finn Balor says that the OC has created more problems than them for themselves with no solution. Priest says that the OC will fall before. Rhea Ripley says that she doesn't care who they bring in because no one can take her down. They walk away before, and this was something I thought I was like, yes, like remembers things. Rhea Ripley, while they were walking off, Rhea Ripley runs into Bianca Belair, who was getting ready to go to the ring for her segment. They happen to exchange a look, and I'm like, yes. I think that is the match Triple H is going to go with for WrestleMania for the Raw Women's Championship. It should not be Alexa Bliss. It should not be Charlotte Flair. It should not be Candice LeRae or anybody like that. It should be Rhea Ripley and Rhea Ripley only. I don't care how we get to that. or how Rhea gets the title match. Technically, she doesn't even need to win anything to get the title match because she already has a fucking title match. She's owed one. So next up, we got a this part of this segment was one of my favorite things on the show. We had a Damage Control, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and Bianca Belair segment. Bianca and the rest of the babyfaces call out Damage Control after what happened at Crown Jewel. Dakota says no one cares that that she was the last woman standing, but she hasn't beaten Bayley yet. Even though I swear I've heard somebody, one of those two said that she hasn't eaten Bayley yet. I think that was Dakota, but I'm not sure. Dakota starts rubbing their title win over, and Bliss and Asuka. Basically, they start rubbing it into the face of Bliss and Asuka. Bliss says they had them beat the whole time before Nikki Cross got involved. So she accuses Nikki Cross of being the reason why they lost the tag titles. Technically, that is true. Before that, they actually had when the babyfaces are coming out. Like I said, mentioned earlier, Alexa Bliss behind them, where this is a big Bray Wyatt logo, and it was never mentioned again. By the way, we never saw that again. Then my favorite part of this entire segment happened. Asuka gets on the microphone. She starts spouting words out in Japanese. Then Io Shirai gets in the ring, and then she starts spouting out things in Japanese, and they just start going back and forth for like a minute and a half, and it was my favorite thing probably on the entire show. And it was incredible. And Io just ends it with bitch. It was great. It was great. It was my favorite thing on the show. Then after that, they start brawling. At one point, the babyfaces did get the upper hand until Nikki Cross gets involved. She starts beating up Asuka, Alexa Bliss, and Bianca Belair. And Bayley and friends assume Nikki Cross is a part of the group. Now, she may be like on their side for this match. I don't actually think she's a part of the group, though. That's my theory on that. That's just my theory. But again, who knows? After when Bliss the baby faces get up, Belair challenges Damage Control and Nikki Cross to War Games. Bayley and Damage Control and the rest of the heels accept. So as it stands right now, first match announced for Survivor Series, it's going to be Damage Control, which Bayley, Io, Dakota, and Nikki Cross, and a team member to be named, which I think is going to be Rhea Ripley against Bianca, Asuka, Alexa, and who I think is going to be the other two, Candice LeRae and Mia Yim. Next up, Austin Theory, unfortunately, is on my TV screen. More than I wanted him to be tonight. He beat Shelton Benjamin. Poor Shelton Benjamin. Though I do think it's funny that on the same show that Mia Yim comes back on, they decide, hey, let's put Shelton Benjamin on the show. Shelton Benjamin's Twitter on when that happened was hilarious. What did he said? So they had the thing about Mia Yim coming back, and his instant response was no. It was great. Next up, we have The Miz on in the ring, getting ready for his match with Johnny Gargano. Basically, Gargano, doxes him, saying that him and Loomis staged the whole thing. And I guess they just didn't I guess it was weird. It was weird. It didn't make a lot of sense. It was somewhat funny, but not really. Gargano, I feel bad that Gargano tried to put on a takeover worthy match with Miz, but you're fucking Miz. You're not gonna have that happen. The Miz wins, unfortunately. Cheating, obviously. And after the match, Dexter Lumis appears, hits The Miz with the chair before security chases him out of the arena. Because technically, storyline wise, he still hasn't signed he's not with a brand because he never did that match. They may do the match at Survivor Series. We go backstage. Damage Control and Nikki Cross are there. Dakota Kai starts saying that she says that just like Io and herself, they have forgotten about her. But they're talking about Nikki Cross. They invite her to be part of their team at WarGames. So right then and there, to me, that does not scream she's part of Damage Control. They just they invited her to be a part of this match for WarGames, and encourage her to. They encourage her to let out all her anger tonight on Dana Brooke, and Nikki Cross just beats the ever-living fucking piss out of Dana Brooke, winning the 24/7 championship. And my other favorite thing on this entire show, after the match, they go to the back, and they're walking to the back, and Nikki Cross just has the title on her shoulder and just fucking tosses it in the trash. She misses the trash can, but it just goes right in the trash, where the 24/7 championship belongs. Thank you, Hunter. One down, another one to go. That kind of happened tonight, unfortunately. Not really. I don't like the guy. So, anyways, we go to the backstage. We see the OC and Byron Saxton talking. Styles says it feels good to get some payback on Judgment Day. Says that who else gets the job done but Mia Yim. Yim says that she only showed a sample of what she can do before Gallows and Anderson invite her to get drinks. Mia says that drinks are on her tonight. Then they go off. Then we go back to ringside. Seth Rollins heads down because it's time for the open challenge. He says November marks his 10-year anniversary in the company, which I think he's talking about main roster wise. I don't know when exactly he actually debuted for NXT or FCW, but I'm assuming he's talking about when the Shield debuted. And this is where I think he's becoming a babyface here. He thanks the fans for being with him through it all. He says that it was far too long before he managed to capture gold again, talking about getting the United States Championship again. He says that he's made the United States title the title on Raw. Well, that's not accurate. I mean, when he was the US, not the US champion, when he was the Intercontinental champion, abso-fucking-lutely he did. He then calls out his opponent to the ring. Mustafa Ali appears on the screen. He's about to answer it, the open challenge before. First of all, why would you open? If it's an open challenge, why are you gonna get on the screen and say, "Hey, I'm just gonna answer you"? Just go out there and do it. He gets his ass whooped by Bobby Lashley. Lashley then says he's gonna become the open challenge person. And again, beats the shit out of Mustafa Ali. Then he comes out there, beats the ever-living shit out of Seth Rollins. That match never gets started. He leaves. Austin Theory comes down here. I'm like, what's happening here? And he has the briefcase in his hand. I'm like, my first instinct is, why is he coming out here? Then I seen the briefcase. I'm like, they're not gonna have him cash in on the United States title when we know the briefcase is meant for the world title. And sure as hell is enough, when they come back from commercial break, that's exactly what happened. Cashes in the money briefcase on the United States title. The bell rings. We look like Austin Theory was going to win the title. Fucking Lashley comes back, pulls Austin Theory out of the ring, and then beats the shit out of him, puts him in the headlock. The referee, revives himself, starts counting to the 10, almost to 10. He hits 9. Theory comes back in the ring and hits the stomp by Seth Rollins. 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins retains the United States Championship. Austin Theory fails. Probably one of the weirdest and worst Money in the Bank cash-ins I've ever seen in my life. This doesn't make a lot of sense. See, I said this from day one, and I'm not talking about the pay-per-view. Well, technically I am talking about the pay-per-view, but I'm also talking about since day one, since the beginning of the year. Putting the title on Brock Lesnar was the worst decision Vince McMahon probably has made this year. Because if we wouldn't have been in this situation with the Money in the Bank briefcase had they not put the title on Brock Lesnar back at day one. Lesnar, I don't give a shit that he was in the match or not. He didn't need to win it. That should have went to Seth Rollins. You should have had Seth Rollins still win the title like it was originally planned. They didn't do that. Whatever. And then Vince decided, hey, let's do a title thing. Okay, whatever. So this is another problem I had with this. They decided to take the title off of Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. Okay, good. That means we don't need to see Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for both titles. Sure as hell enough, they fucking decide, hey, let's put the title back on Brock Lesnar because we need to do title versus title at fucking WrestleMania. And guess what? Tickets did not move. Should tell you a lot how much people give a shit about Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns in 2022. And then they just fucked that whole thing up. Like, why? And then it makes it even worse that they went from a part-time champion, which in Brock Lesnar with the WWE title, put that said title on a new part-timer in Roman Reigns. This would have been, and then you decide, Vince decides, not Triple H, he didn't fucking decide these decisions. Then they decide to put the Money in the briefcase not on Seth Rollins or Drew McIntyre or Matt Riddle or fucking Shinsuke Nakamura or anybody like that. No, they decided to put it on Austin Theory, knowing goddamn well he was not going to win that fucking the title from Roman Reigns. And then they teased something I thought would have been a fine idea because he wasn't going to win the world title, the main roster world title from Roman Reigns, winning the title off of Braun Breaker in NXT, and they didn't even follow up on that. They did the one tease on the Go Home show for Halloween Havoc, and it was never mentioned again. Austin Theory was completely buried tonight by Triple H, basically telling you, I fucking hate this kid. And if you think that Triple H really liked this guy, you probably didn't see his NXT run. Austin Theory lost 80% of his NXT matches to big names like Damian Priest and fucking Karrion Kross, Adam Cole, Tommaso Ciampa, Kushida, and I'm pretty sure he lost a match to fucking what the hell is his name? Pete Dunne, Butch. So you cannot take this guy seriously anymore. What they do with Seth Rollins from here, I don't know. It seemed like they did a double turn. I guess, but I'm not sure. We'll find out maybe after later on tomorrow, maybe by whether, because PW Insider usually has the internal roster lists ideas up. We'll find out tomorrow if Seth Rollins is now a babyface or not. I think he is, but I'm not sure. I think Lashley is a heel, but I'm not sure. Based on how Lashley reacted after his losing to Brock Lesnar on Saturday, like, what babyface attacks the heel after a match? Babyfaces don't do that. It's a heel thing. I don't know. But that's how Raw ended. Weird ass fucking thing. I'm so glad they didn't end the show with fucking, Austin Theory cashing in on the fucking money, on the fucking United States title, and then wins in the Oval. I'm assuming they tried this was done to get heat on both Lashley and, well, it was never. It's not. Well, they didn't get heat on Theory, but it got heat on Lashley. Made him look like a monster whenever they decide to do the thing with Lesnar again. But I think this was done to get sympathy for Seth Rollins. But that's how I feel about Monday Night Raw. It wasn't a bad show. It was doable. It was a weird ass show though. We got SmackDown, obviously coming up. We got a world tag team title match between the Usos and the New Day. Hopefully for the last time. I don't want to see this match again. I know will the match be great? Yeah, the match is gonna be good, but I don't want to see it anymore. World Cup was, like I said, was announced on Friday after reviewing the show. World Cup, we did find out that the winner of the World Cup will get a future shot at the Intercontinental Championship. I don't know who's going to win it. We don't know when the finals are going to take place. The finals may not even take place at Survivor Series. If it's going to be an 8-person tournament, I don't see the finals taking place at Survivor Series. Especially since it's SmackDown, because SmackDown you have this week and then next week, and then you have 3 weeks. You have you could, but if it's if it's Fortnite, if it's I don't know. It'll be 4 tournament matches. I think. Yeah, it'll be 4 tournament matches. So you do 2 on Friday, 2 on next Friday, and then you do the final 2 on the qualifying matches, the first rounds. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to set that up, but that's all on SmackDown. NXT, and don't care about that. Dynamite, I don't think anything is announced for Dynamite. I'm aware of. I'll let you guys know on that. But that was Monday Night Raw. If you like what you saw here, like I said, do all the stuff that goes along with it. Subscribe, like button, comment down below. The social medias are usually in the description. At Misfit Wrestle TV on Twitter, on Instagram it's Misfit Wrestling Pod. On Facebook, Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I think that's the URL. The URL here is at youtube.com/at Misfit Wrestling Podcast, or you can search up at Misfit Wrestling Podcast on the search bar, which would be easier to find us, or find me rather. I'm the only one doing this show. Until then, I will see you guys back here for Wednesday night for Dynamite, and then I will see you guys again for SmackDown. We got a huge week coming up. Next week, huge week. Got 2 pay-per-views to cover. Next week is the go-home show for Full Gear. You got the Full Gear show on that Saturday, and then the following day, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Stardom's Historic Crossover, and we do have confirmation. The confirmation came in late Saturday night. The main event of that show was announced. It's going to be Kairi Hojo versus Mayu Iwatani to crown the inaugural IWGP Women's Championship. I'm so proud of these two, especially Kairi. She will be the first woman in history to main event a WWE pay-per-view and a New Japan Pro Wrestling pay-per-view. She main evented TLC in 2019 when she teamed with Asuka to defend the tag team titles against Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. And if you want to be technical, she technically did main event the Royal Rumble, because the 2018 Royal Rumble, she was in it, so technically she did main event that show. And she'll be main eventing the show on the 20th with not Dakota Kai. She'll be main eventing the show with Mayu Iwatani. But until then, I will see you guys back here for Dynamite, and then again on Friday for SmackDown. Be kind to one another and all that good jazz. Until then, I would see you guys on Wednesday. We're out.